Opening a bank account can be a pain in the brain. It used to be that you went to the bank with your ID and some money, and voila, you got a passbook. However, years of abuse of the banking system has led to increasingly arduous requirements. At some bank, you need more than one form of ID, a utility bill, proof of employment, proof of where the money came from, and the list goes on. Governor of the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, Timothy Antoine, is preaching a new gospel, however. In order to grow the solution economy to double its size in 10 years, he thinks it has to be easier to open a bank account.
Ease of opening a bank account. We have heard the cries of solutions, and our people across the currency union. It is simply too difficult to open a bank account.
The bank has been working with commercial banks to simplify the process for most people without giving up anything in due diligence.
We are making progress working with our banks on this issue. At the moment, for example, we've agreed on a simplified due diligence where you require one piece of ID for low risk, one piece of ID, not two, for low risk customers based on a risk categorization. Similarly, if for example you have a young person coming out of school, wants to start a business, still living with their parents, they have no utility bill in their name, they can get a letter from mom or dad or their guardian as proof of address and they can proceed.
This is about more than convenience. It is about the speed of doing business. Workers can become small business owners, and small businesses can form a new shock-resistant backbone in the economy. Restrictions to opening new bank accounts hurt new workers and new businesses, which is an obstacle to growing the economy by 100% by 2035. However, the central bank wants more than agreements. They want legislation.
Secondly, we will soon establish via the law a basic account as a right. Every citizen will have a right to have a basic account in their name, and that account will be interest bearing.
Critics might say this will once again open the door to the kind of money laundering that men like Kenneth Ridgeock did before the banks clamped down on new accounts. However, Antoine thinks that Peter should not pay for Paul when it comes to the right to have a bank account.
The banks will have cause to terminate. We can only terminate for cause. So if there is evidence of money laundering, sanctions busting, then they can close their account. But they have to open their account. This is something we feel strongly and is important for financial inclusion.
Will the banks cooperate? Banks can be notoriously difficult to control. However, the central bank has already had talks to bring them on board and in line. For example, one bank should not have a different standard than another for opening an account.
Thirdly, consistency of protocols across our banks and our branches. Because what we're finding from customers, what we're hearing, including this week, is that you can go to one bank and find that it's one request, and you go to another bank and it's a different request. What is easy in one bank is incredibly hard in another bank. They're the same bank under the same banking law with the same regulator, ECCB. That ought not to be the case. So we are insisting on consistency of protocols to be able to make sure that we're not dealing with this issue of difficulty with opening a bank account.
The ECCB recommends that people should already be able to go into banks with the confidence that opening a bank account is their right.
Our banks have already begun to implement this, and I want to ask customers to go in with that confidence and to report promptly to the central bank if you have any issues.
Now, if only customers could get an appointment in a timely fashion. For Choice News Now, I am Jason Seafley.